On April Fool's Day, Ji Hui got dead drunk at a bar and asked me to pick him up. Before I even walked in, I heard his arrogant laughter. My wife? I say east, she doesn't dare go west. Someone egged him on. Someone handed over a prank divorce agreement. I pushed open the door and saw a flicker of surprise in his eyes, quickly swallowed by drunkenness. He smiled and handed me the paper. Wife, sign it. I flipped through it. On the last page, his name was already written. I asked if he was sure. He didn't catch the coldness in my voice. He waved his hand. The people around fell silent. Only he was still laughing. I gripped the pen, signed stroke by stroke, put away the agreement, turned, and left. Behind me, his laughter finally stopped. Someone tugged Ji Hui's sleeve and said, Hui Ji, that's enough. He reached out and grabbed my wrist. I thought he might say I was wrong or that didn't count. But he just frowned, annoyed. It's April Fool's Day. Can you not be such a buttskill? I looked at him and suddenly felt there was nothing left to say. I opened the Civil Affairs Bureau's appointment page and picked the earliest available weekday, April 6th, our 5th wedding anniversary. My phone buzzed. It was Ji Hui. He said not to be mad. Come home and he'd make it up to me. I didn't reply. Another message. Was I really angry? It was just an April Fool's joke. I still didn't reply. The door opened and Tang Wenju walked in. She stepped up to Ji Hui and slapped him on the ass, as familiar as if she'd done it 1,000 times. She tilted her head. Me. And apologized with her mouth while her eyes challenged me. I stood up, picked up my bag, and said flatly, Your friend is here. Let her take you home. Then I turned and left. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Ji Hui watching me go, his face darkening. At home, I opened the closet and started packing. When I pulled open the nightstand drawer, a silver ring fell out. Ji Hui had made it himself. Inside, it was engraved A. H for Ji Hui and Chen Yuan will always be together. I had worn it for years. Later he said it was too childish and made me switch to an expensive one. But I kept this ring. Back then, he really did treasure me. On rainy days he'd run 3 blocks to buy me the chestnuts I craved. If I casually said I wanted to see the ocean, he'd plan the whole trip and get my leave approved. But at some point he changed. From whatever my wife likes is good to can you say less and give me some face. From she calls the shots to what do women know. Listen to me. Every time I played along, I poured his wine at dinner, agreed with him in front of others, smiled and nodded when he bragged. Later he'd come over and apologize softly, saying he didn't mean it. I loved him. I really did. But now I was tired. My phone lit up. Ji Hui sent a photo. He was lying messily on a hotel bed, and Tang Wenju was leaning on his shoulder, flashing a peace sign at the camera. The caption, Mission accomplished. Don't worry, sister-in-law. We got 2 rooms. I stared at the letter H pendant swinging at her neck. It looked familiar. I had always known Tang Wenju like Ji Hui. I'd overheard his friends saying I had stolen him from her. When I confronted him, he pulled me into his arms and said if they were going to be together, they would have been already. I believed him. Now I realized I'd been a fool. By morning, I had almost everything packed. I dragged my suitcases to the door, took one last look at the home where I'd lived for 5 years, then opened the door and walked out. Ji Hui called. I declined. Then I blocked his number and booked a ticket to my hometown, at my best friend Zhang Neon's place. We drank whiskey and talked through the 5-year marriage from beginning to end. She said, I never knew he was like this. When you got married, everyone was so jealous. And now, just a few years later, she couldn't finish. Yeah, just a few years. What doesn't change? I don't know. At home, there was a table full of hot food. I sat down, picked up my chopsticks, then put them down. Mom, I'm getting divorced. Her hand paused mid-reach, the chopsticks hanging in the air for 2 seconds. Then she put the food in my bowl and said one word, okay. No questions asked. On the night of April 5th, I went back to that city and texted Ji Hui to take a leave the next morning. He replied instantly, "Already done." And then our anniversary. I didn't forget. As if nothing had happened. I didn't reply. The next morning, I put on a full face of makeup for the first time in a long time. I found that dusty lipstick, twisted it open, and traced my lips slowly in the mirror. I wasn't dressing up for him. I was doing it for myself. At 9 in the morning, I stood outside the apartment. He opened the door. He had clearly dressed up. His eyes lit up when he saw me. The car stopped at the Civil Affairs Bureau. He froze, then said, "April Fool's is over. What kind of joke is this?" I said I wasn't joking. He stared at me, his face darkening, and asked if I was really doing this over an April Fool's joke. 20 minutes later, we walked out with our divorce application receipts. 30-day cooling off period. 10 days from now, don't be late. Then I turned and walked away. That night, I saw King Wonju's post on social media. A photo of a group at the bar. Her leaning against Ji Hui laughing. I tapped on her avatar and deleted the contact. None of my business anymore. He didn't bother me for those 30 days. I found a new apartment. My boss gave me a major project. I worked my tail off, but every night when I got home and collapsed on the sofa, I felt a lightness I had never known. On the day we finalized the divorce, the weather was beautiful. As we walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, he called my name from behind and said he was going to pursue me all over again. He pulled out a bouquet of flowers and asked if I would let him. I found it absurd. I said no. I said I wanted to be completely undoubtedly done with him. He asked if there was another man. I pulled my arm free and asked if he had given Tang Wonju that H pendant. He said he had never given her anything. I asked about the hotel photo, him lying in bed, her leaning on his shoulder, and he expected me to believe nothing happened. He said he was drunk. I said he was always drunk. I asked if he truly didn't know she liked him or if he was just pretending. He said it didn't matter, he loved me. I laughed, following her advice to divorce me just so you could win me back. That was her idea, wasn't it? His pupils contracted sharply. I said our divorce wasn't because of her. It was because of him, because he made me pour his wine at dinner to give him face, because he made me drink 3 penalty shots in front of his friends just because I said one thing, because when I worked late, he was on the phone with his friends complaining that I didn't take care of home. Too many times. He was the one who pushed me away. He blurted out, "You changed first. After we got married, you got so assertive." They all said I was whipped. That I had no say at home. The more I heard it, the worse I felt. I looked at him like a stranger. Because of a few comments from his friends, he turned from someone who respected and cherished me into someone who expected me to lower myself in public. This was the man I had loved. How ironic. He seemed to realize he'd said something wrong. His lips parted. I said, "Get lost." Then I turned and left. This time he didn't follow. A month later, I took my bonus, bought a plane ticket, and spent a few days alone by the sea. The day I flew back, my mother's messages flooded in. Ji Hui had come to the house. My father couldn't take it and beat him up. By the time I got there, it was almost dark. In the distance, I saw a figure kneeling in front of my house. He had lost weight. His chin was covered in stubble, his shirt wrinkled like old newspaper. When he saw me, his dull eyes lit up. My father sat in the living room, his hands still trembling. He said he tried to send him away many times. I sighed, turned to Ji Hui, and said if he wanted compensation, I would pay it. My father was too old to deal with this. He said, and on, "I can't believe you think of me that way." He pulled out his phone, showing me that he had blocked Tang Wonju and cut off all those friends. His voice cracked as he said he couldn't live without me and he knew he was wrong. I closed my eyes. Something in my chest ached, but just for a second. Then I opened them and looked at this man I had once loved so much. "It's too late, Ji Hui," I said, kneeling here, cutting off those people. making himself look pathetic. What then? Did he think I would soften and take him back? If he had really changed, he wouldn't be kneeling here trying to pressure me. Just because he was miserable and groveling didn't mean I owed him forgiveness. From start to finish, he had only thought about himself. I begged him to let me go. He lowered his head and stopped looking at me. The sky opened up. He said okay and walked into the rain. 3 years later, in the dressing room mirror, I was wearing a white wedding dress. John Nyan stood behind me and asked if I was nervous. Not at all, I said. My mind drifted back to years. I was on a business trip, walking alone down a street in an unfamiliar city when a man stopped me. He had lost his wallet. Clean shirt, sleeves rolled to his forearms, soft-spoken. I lent him my phone to call the police. He insisted on buying me a meal to thank me. We talked for 2 hours. Work, life, dreams. When the bill came, he remembered his wallet was gone. I paid, smiling. The next morning, he showed up at my hotel with breakfast. The day after, he did it again. Later, we both got busy, but he started sending me snippets of his life. Sunrises, coffee stains on his shirt. I responded, then started sharing my own. One time, we happened to be in the same city for work. He walked me to airport security and stood there, not leaving. He said my name, his voice tight. "Can I come find you?" I asked about his job. "I can quit," he said. I thought he was joking. 3 months later, he did quit. He showed up at my office building with the suitcases, standing in the sun with a goofy smile. He said an architecture firm in my city was hiring and he'd gotten an offer. I asked if he was crazy. "Maybe," he said, "but I didn't want to miss you." What followed was natural. He put down roots in my city. We dated, moved in together, met each other's families. At dinner with his friends one night, his buddy drank a bit too much and joked that I must be something special. Yuhan had thrown away everything for me. Before I could respond, he turned cold and said, "That was my decision. Don't talk about Yuan like that." The table went quiet. His friend laughed awkwardly and apologized. I waved it off, but my heart felt warm. There was a knock at the dressing room door. A package with no return address. Zhang Nyan opened it. A diamond necklace. The pendant a star. I had seen that necklace once, years ago, in a jewelry store window. The price tag made me hesitate. Behind me, a familiar voice said, "When I get my year-end bonus, I'll buy it for you. It would look so beautiful on you, wife." That was Jihui, a very, very long time ago. I stared at the necklace for a few seconds. "Throw it away," I said. "I don't need it anymore." The wedding began. The priest's voice echoed through the hall. "Cheng Yuan, do you take this man to be your husband? To love and support him for all the days of your life?" The spotlight was on me. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Zhang Nyan crying and my parents beaming. Song Yuhong was gripping my hand, his palms sweaty with nerves. I smiled slightly, and my voice was soft but steady. "I do." Applause filled the room. He leaned down, pressing his forehead to mine. His voice was so quiet only I could hear it. "I love you, Yuan." I closed my eyes. Somewhere in my heart, a voice said, "If you walk the wrong road, find another. This one I know is the right one."